All right, back on the show now is the Leech, Damon Jackson, who fights next on September the 17th at UFC Vegas 60 when he meets Pat Sabatini. Damon, how you doing?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Good, good. Fantastic to have you back on the show. And I do understand that recently you had a birthday, so I just want to say happy belated birthday. You don't look a day over 25.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right. Obviously, I caught up with you after your most recent win inside of the octagon. I just want to start with what life has been like for you since then.
It's pretty crazy right now. I'm closing on a house the week after my fight. So on the 23rd, I'll be moving into my new house, and we've been in this little bitty apartment for the last year while I was building, and so it'll be nice to kind of have the fight. And then the next week we move in, so it'll be nice. But right now I'm just prepping for the move and prepping for my weight cut at the same time. So it's been interesting for sure.
Has that added a lot of stress to you just the mental side of
Nah,
things? No?
we've had it planned out. We started building a year ago, and it's just been so slow with everything, with all the new COVID stuff, just ending and everything. It's kind of picking back up, but it was real slow at first, and we've had it planned out this whole time. So we've had all of our stuff moved into a storage unit, and so basically I'm just prepping for the movers to like. I have the luxury now of having movers because I'm cutting weight, so it's like the best thing in the world, because normally it's me and my wife, we move everything ourselves. So this time, since I'm cutting weight, I'm like, you know what, maybe I should hire a moving team. But it's been pretty stress free, honestly.
That's fantastic. How close will the new place be to the gym? Will it be easier for you to get back and forth?
Actually, so I live in Rockwall, which is a suburb. It's at 30 miles outside of Dallas. So I drive in and I work at the gym also. So I train people all day, and I also train there in the morning and at night. So I go in there early in the morning, like 4:30 in the morning. I go work, and then I train people, and then I train myself, and then I have a gap in the middle of the day, and I usually come back home, and then I go back at night at 8 p.m. And so today I'm actually coming to pick up some. This is the first week of school, and this is the second time I've had to go pick up one of the girls early from school. So they have about 45 minutes left of school, and the freaking nurse called me. So I'm like, what the hell, man? Like, so anyways, I'm going to pick up girls now, so I get to help the wife out a little bit with, kid stuff today.
Okay. Everything okay with the kids though? She's all right?
Um, no, she's probably like made a bad grade or something, and she's pulling her stomach hurts. And now they can't tell kids to go back to classroom now because they're scared to death to get sued. So it's like, you feel for the nurse because they have to call you. But then, like, I want to tell my kid, I'm like, suck it up for 30 minutes. I'll be there. I'm like,
Right.
it's all right.
All right. Well, as long as they're okay, that's all that
They're all
matters. I wanted to ask you too, because the last time we did speak, it was before UFC 277. Obviously, that was in Dallas, Texas, and you really wanted on that card. Was there any inkling, any chance where you might be able to step in on short notice?
No, it was really just me, like, trying to, make it happen. I was prepped. Weight was ready. I had a good little hard cardio, like, build up for the fight. I was training like normal, like, just doing my normal stuff. We had a couple guys fighting around the end, and I don't remember who it was, but we had some people fight close to that time. So I was helping them get ready for their fight. So it wasn't that big a deal. So, like, if I were to step in short notice, it wouldn't have been a big deal to me. And but anyways, I was just kind of, being ready. If it came up and it was open, I was going to take advantage of it. But there was nothing that I knew of.
Have you heard any chance they're going to go back to Dallas in the near future so you can make sure you get on that?
Uh, I don't know how they wouldn't, man. I really don't know how they wouldn't, because they sell out every time, and the American Airlines Center is such a big venue. I know that there's a fan base here for sure. Um, I think Houston's kind of stolen the spotlight for Texas as far as like the cards go, because they always have such a good turnout in Houston, and they've been there during COVID. Whenever Dallas is a lot more liberal than Houston, so there it was the COVID. The rules were, very, like, they weren't that strict down there in Houston. In Texas, it's been pretty open, for a while, but it seemed like Dallas had a lot more restrictions, so it kind of stopped them from coming here because they really wanted Dallas. They wanted it bad, and then they just couldn't make it happen. So, but I'm thinking they'll come back next year. I mean, they had a great turnout this year, so I'm sure they'll come back soon.
Well, hopefully you get that opportunity. I know that was something that would have meant a
Oh
lot
man,
to you.
yeah, because I mean, I just threw out the first pitch for the Rangers just because I'm like, I go to the games all the time. I'm always there. I know a lot of the people that work there, so like I got to do the first pitch last week, and it was really cool. And I would love to be. I would like to drop the puck for an NHL game. The Stars are coming up. The season's about to start soon, so I'm going to drop the puck there, and I would love to fight at the American Airlines Center because just all the years watching the Mavericks and watching, the Stars play. So it'd be really cool to be out in the same arena fighting there.
How did the first pitch go? Did you get it down the line? Did it make it to the catcher?
No, I sailed it. I threw it right above his head, man. He wasn't ready either. I threw it a little too early, and so he was like squatting down, and I threw it, and he wasn't ready, and it went right above like where he could reach. He tried to jump up and grab it, but I threw it in there pretty good. I was trying to. I was like, man, I've got to make sure it makes it there. I can't like throw it in the dirt like Connor or throw it off to the side.
That's what I was just gonna say. At least you did better than Connor.
Oh, I did. I definitely did. Yeah, definitely.
All right, man. Well, that's very cool. I want to talk to you about camp. Obviously, Fortis MMA, one of the best gyms in the country. And I never asked you this, but I know in the past, and I believe he still is. NBA great Deron Williams is the owner. Is he still around there? Does he still have a stake in the gym?
Yeah, he does. He's very engaged. We started doing our strength and conditioning as a team with Mike Scatia, and that's actually Darren Williams. That was his strength and conditioning coach. And a lot of the guys in the team will get together 2 or 3 days a week and go. It's in Plano, which is about 30 minutes from the gym, and but he comes in often, and he's always talking to us on social media. Like we all have all the guys, like all the pro guys that are in the UFC that have been around for a while, have a pretty good relationship with him, and he's a big part of the team. He definitely, every time that we have a fight, like if I have a fight, he'll always say, congratulations or whatever. He's always engaged in what we're doing. So he's definitely a part of the gym for sure, and a part of the group.
That's very cool. My first love was basketball. I actually played in college for a couple of years. So I remember him in his heyday, man. He was
Oh
so
man.
freaking good. I mean, he's clearly a
Yeah.
phenomenal athlete. How good do you think he could have been as a mixed martial artist if that's what he started when he was younger?
So I don't know if anyone really knows it, but like he actually was a state champion in wrestling. So he did youth wrestling, and he wrestled. I believe he wrestled it through high school. Like he wrestled while he was playing basketball, and so he's got that base where that he's got it, and he can grapple, man. It's really impressive how big he is and stuff, how well he grapples, and he comes in the gym often. He mixes it up, with some of the guys on the team, and he doesn't do full MMA sparring all the time, but he comes in, I'd say at least once a month and mixes it up with a few of the guys, like Ryan Spann and Kennedy and those bigger guys. He's a good body for them.
Wow. Yeah, that is very cool. Obviously, you mentioned Ryan Spann. He's got a big
Yeah.
fight around the corner with Dominic Reyes. Break that one
Yeah.
down for me. How do you see that one playing out?
I see Spann like if you look at Spann, you're like, oh, it's just a tall, athletic dude. He's probably gonna box everybody, or he's probably gonna like throw some big kicks or something like that. But I think he's got like some very underrated jiu-jitsu, like his choking ability. Like he can put people in a triangle. He can go guillotine. He can go Darce. He's got very well-rounded jiu-jitsu that he hasn't really had to pull it off that much in the UFC. But whenever we were kind of coming up through LFA, I was watching him all the time, and I'm like, man, this guy can grapple. Like he can grapple really well. So I think that he wins that fight by submission, and I think that that'll be a big statement win for sure. Just because a few years back, Reyes gave John Jones a heck of a fight. So seeing him in there with Reyes will be a big test for sure. But I think Spann wins that by submission.
Any new bodies for you as far as training partners go, or has this camp been pretty much what it normally is?
Yeah, actually, one of my, main training partners actually is no longer part of our gym, and he went back home to his family and stuff. And so I've been really training with Abdul. And so Abdul is actually going to be fighting the week on the 23rd, the week after me on Fury. So you'll be able to watch him on that. And he's been my main training partner, honestly, for a lot of my camps, but for this one for sure, because he's the same height. He has good boxing, good wrestling. So Pat Sabatini, he's got great wrestling, offensive wrestling, pretty good defensive wrestling, and he's got really good jiu-jitsu. And so Abdul's got really good jiu-jitsu and great wrestling. So he's been definitely been in the gym with me a lot.
And Ocho's still there, right? He's got to be a training partner that you're seeing day to day.
Yeah. He Ocho's. I mean, he's been around forever, man. He's he's been there, through all like from way back in the day when when it was LFC, we were fighting together and training together. So, he's been with us for 10+ years. So, yeah, he's still there.
Yeah, one of my favorite guys to interview, just like yourself. Let's talk about this Pat Sabatini matchup. Again, UFC Vegas 60, September the 17th. He's coming off 2 UD wins over Tucker Lutz and TJ Laramie. When you look at him and his wrestling style, is this a matchup that you feel like really benefits what you can do inside the octagon?
100%. He's like everybody says this, like that when you're a wrestler, you're like, oh, this is the perfect time for me to do my stand up. This is the perfect whatever. But like if you watch those fights, he got put on his back, pretty easy by TJ Laramie. And I think TJ Laramie is trash. And I'm not surprised the UFC let him go. He really pissed me off whenever he backed out of our fight. And he got me like really amped up because he started running his mouth after I fought like 2 times after that. I'm like, dude, like I don't even remember seeing your name on the list anymore. Like, but anyway, so he got put on his back twice by TJ, and which is that kind of surprised me because I thought his wrestling was better than that, and I think that he's just not used to someone going after takedowns against him because he is good off his back. But I'm taking the takedowns to him. I'm gonna come at him. I'm gonna be in his face like normal. I'll get him on the ground for sure, and I win that battle all day. I have more finishing power than him. He doesn't finish fights the way I do. Like he doesn't go for subs as much as I do. And he got lucky with that heel hook whenever him and Jamal Emmers were going back and forth with each other's legs. Like that was not black belt level submission skills. I'm not impressed with his his leg lock game or his chokes or his back control is great, whatever. But those guys all they weren't trying to get up. They weren't going for submissions of themselves. They weren't threatening him at all. So I'm taking the fight to him for sure, and I'm not going to change my game plan. I'm going to be in his face. I'm going to take him down when the opportunity's there.
Do you think you get him out of there?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think it's gonna be one of those fights where it's gonna be a scrap. The winner of this one goes on to be top 15. The winner of this one goes on to get that next big level up. That next up in opponents. It's gonna be at least a top 15 for me, maybe a top 20 for him, just because he's a little bit above me. But he's on a 4-fight win streak. I'm on a 3-fight win streak, but it's like who's he fought, and and I haven't really honestly. If you look at my record, honestly, in the UFC, I haven't been super tested except for Betic. But then Betic has been on this kind of downfall the whole time. So you could argue that my Ilya Taporia, when the one fight I lost in the UFC in this run, that was a big test and I failed. So it's kind of a test for both of us to see if we're ready for that next level or not. And I feel great right now.
For all the bettors out there, because betting on MMA fights is turning into just such a massive thing nowadays. Well, give me your official prediction. What round? How do you get him out of there?
I see him being over aggressive and coming at me, when to exchange in wrestling, and I reverse that and I get him on the ground, and it's either going to be a TKO first round or a submission first round.
Okay, I love it. But before we do sign off here today, I got to get your thoughts on UFC 278. I mean, my goodness, I was trying to stay awake because it was late here on the East Coast. It goes into the 5th round. Usman is dominating the whole fight, and then out of nowhere, lands that head kick. What's your takeaway from that?
Yeah, like you can't let your guard down, man. I don't know if Usman was really letting his guard down or not, but it was really just like it just goes to show you that you have to fight until that last bell rings, because you have a chance to win at any point, and which is crazy. There's not really any other sport like our sport. Um, Even in boxing, it's kind of like, you get hit, you can get back up. You get hit, you can get back up. So like you can't really win all those kind of fights like that. That was such a clean setup, clean kick landed. Very impressive for him to hold that off till the very end like that, because it wasn't like he was throwing that out there the whole fight. Kamar was slipping so heavy because he was just threatening with the leg kicks and then the boxing, and it was crazy the way he set it up, and he pulled the trigger in the 5th round, which is freaking nuts. But I was like, man, this is the most boring fight ever, most boring fight ever. And then boom, it's like you never know, man. That's why everybody now all you hear about is how Leon Edwards is the greatest, and I'm like, this dude's been good for all these years, and no one said his name once. But it's like they push who they want to push, and you can get in that spotlight real quick whenever you're like Usman. He's just a real clean cut guy, doesn't really say a lot. He wins every fight, pretty dominant most of the time, and for him to come in there and be challenged like that, and then to kind of showboat a little bit with his head movement and the way he was acting the whole fight week, and the build up for it was kind of annoying. He kind of, it was kind of weird how he was acting, and then that happened. So then you're like, I never once considered him the greatest. I never once considered him like the best ever, because he's not well rounded. He's not well rounded enough to like really be called the greatest martial artist. He's a great wrestler, he's got a great style to win. But John Jones and Anderson Silva, seeing them keep their records just shows you how great they are and were in the sport. And because of as impressive as he is, that he didn't do what they did. So, I think that he's a great fighter and he'll come back strong for sure. And I bet the next fight that if they do fight again, I'm sure they will. I think it's gonna be super boring. He's gonna wrestle heavy and try to keep him down more, and it'll be boring.
Well, you just answered my next question, because it looks like that trilogy fight is what's going to happen next, but it's going to be in the UK. So I definitely
Yeah.
expect Usman to get the belt back. But you're right. I think it's going to be a more boring fight, a wrestling heavy fight where he doesn't take those chances on the feet.
Yeah, I don't see they if you like it, just go back and watch like the build up for it, the all the interviews and all the like the stuff at weigh-ins and the pre-fight like podium talking and stuff. It's like he was so arrogant, and it's like this sport you have like I mean, you have such little room to mess up, and when you mess up that little, or like at the very end of the fight like that, it's got to be humbling in so many ways. And for me, I wasn't the one that got kicked in the face, and I'm so humbled by it. And it's just a good reminder that it's never done until it's done. It's just crazy, man. That's why I like getting in there and trying to finish these fights and get after people as quick as I can.
No doubt. Well, I can't wait again for September the 17th. Damon the Leech Jackson back in action against Pat Sabatini. Always great talking to you, bud. Before I do let you go, I want to give you the floor. Please tell people where they can follow you on social media. And if you have anyone to thank, the floor is yours.
Yeah, man. I don't really use social media a lot, but it's Damon B Jackson on Instagram and Twitter. And I don't really have a lot of sponsors, but yeah, if anybody wants to sponsor me, I'll put it on there, I guess, one day.